morning. Welcome to Jesse Green Live. It must be 5:36 a.m. on a Wednesday morning, or we wouldn't be here. Boy, the sun's really out bright for 5:36 in Florida. Right. This is one of my few broadcasts from Florida, and this is my very first podcast from my house here in Florida. And I am so happy to have a good friend of mine that I've worked with on just one movie.
Yeah. So far.
Sean Thompson. You may know him from. He's been around for a while.
Yeah. I've got a few titles under my belt. Some stuff that I'm ecstatic about, and some that we just don't mention.
Tell me about that. We'll have to get into discussion sometime of who has done the worst movie. I know my worst movie I ever did, but
yeah.
So, Sean, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Again, my name is Sean Thompson. I've been doing this for about 4 years now. Started out acting. Took a very small role in Peter Anthony's Roseblood film. I'm not sure if you've seen that or not.
No.
Yeah, it's a Friday the 13th fan film.
Okay.
And I had no idea what to expect. And first time I'd ever been on a set. First time I'd ever even seen a script for a film. It was terrifying, not just the film, but the experience. But I paid attention, I listened, I watched, and when I got back home to Florida, looked for local opportunities to do some smaller stuff just so I could see what it was like. I had someone that was looking for someone to set up a fight sequence for his film, his short film, and said, well, I do martial arts. If there's something I can help with, let me know. I'm here. So we got together. I worked with him to film his fight sequence for his film. That led to somebody hearing about it and then doing their film and then getting a phone call and saying, we'd like you to build our fight sequence for our film. So you fast forward roughly 3.5 years, and I've been through about 30 or 40 different titles. I've seen probably 13 states.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm. I've done some crazy stuff. I was in a project with the Mulhall brothers. I'm not sure if you know them or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they were filming in Vegas, so I worked a half a day on Friday on my regular job. Flew out from Orlando Airport, direct flight to Vegas. Arrived at 2:00 in the morning, Saturday morning. Slept until 10, grabbed some food, filmed all day Saturday. We got wrapped around 1:00 in the morning. I took a 2-hour nap and got on a flight and flew all the way back home on Sunday so I could be ready for work on Monday. So when my friends asked me, they're like, how do you have so many titles because you still do a full-time job? And I'm like, because that's kind of what my weekends are like. If I'm not home, trying to be a good boyfriend to my girlfriend, I'll drive to another state, I'll fly to another state, I'll pick up a scene, even if it's something small, just so I can get more experience, get more exposure, learn something, meet new people, collaborate, build more memories, and just live the dream. So it's exciting.
I know people will look at my Facebook and they'll go, man, I can't believe how busy you are. And I go, that's only the weekends.
Yeah.
I have a regular job now. Right now, not working as much as what I used to, but I have a regular job. So all the stuff that people see for us is mainly on the weekends.
Mainly on the weekends, yeah. For the acting, especially if you do stuff, get into writing and those kind of things, those are done, at night or whenever you get a creative idea, wake you up in the middle of the night. So, it's an abnormal lifestyle for sure. It's definitely not one that I would say people our age are normally accustomed to doing, but I honestly wouldn't trade it for the world. It's amazing.
Well, and you got into it a little bit later
in my
bit later in life.
Early 50s.
Yeah, I was in my early 60s. I look back on it and I don't deal with a lot of regrets in life. Mm-hmm. I figure things happen when they're supposed to, and decisions you make. You can't look back on decisions you made and say, man, I should have done that, because you made that decision at that time with the information you had at that time.
Right.
And even some decisions we knew they were wrong ones when we made them.
We had fun making them, right?
We still made them. But you can't look back and go, man, I wish I'd have made with the information you have now.
Right.
But so I don't live with a lot of regrets, but I kind of wish I'd have gotten into acting a tad bit earlier.
Yeah.
You know, because
would have opened up a lot more opportunities.
It would have.
Yeah.
It would have. And you know, who knows? Who knows? And especially getting into professional wrestling. You know, I get into professional wrestling at probably about 65 years old, when most of them have already been retired for 20 years. Yeah. But again, it's limited what I do there. But we were talking earlier, man, I don't know which one is more fun.
Yeah.
I think movie making is more fun because it's so different.
Right.
You know, it's awesome to see somebody's idea written on, printed out on paper, and you get to bring that character to life. And every character in every movie is a little bit different. Whereas in professional wrestling, I go out there in every show, I'm the same asshole when I go out there. But it's fun.
It's fun being the asshole, though.
Yeah, it's fun. And it's immediate feedback.
Sure.
You know, I mean, people start booing me and calling me Captain Crunch before I ever go through the curtain. So it's immediate feedback. Whereas in movies, I'm sure you'll attest to it, you don't get the feedback for a couple of years. Might not ever get the feedback. Yeah. You know, because I'm sure you have projects that's never seen the light of day.
Yeah, we have a couple we're still waiting for, and then I'm not sure they'll.
Some of them I don't think they'll ever make it, but.
It is what it is. We have good memories from them, though, right?
Oh, they were fun to make. Yeah. I can't honestly say that there was any movie I ever made that was. I can't say it wasn't fun to make. Yeah. Some with more drama than other ones, but overall they were still a fun experience.
Sure. I mean, I think we try to keep the drama in front of the lens as opposed to behind the lens as much as possible. But I think I've been able to pull away at least something from every experience I've been on, even if the film itself hasn't been a success or is still sitting there waiting to be finished, or if it will never be finished. I might have made 2 or 3 really good film family friends that I still keep in contact with. So that's even more valuable than anything else.
Right.
But to your point, when you were talking about getting the response from people, I think one of the coolest things, for lack of a better word, is the idea that, you know, you've played bad guys, you've played people that people despise. I've played people that are despised as well. And it's interesting when our family and friends watch those films, knowing our character, our real character, and then seeing that, and almost having to give you like a second look. They're like, that's not you. Yeah. And I hate that person. And you're like, thank you, because if you hate them, then I did my job.
You did your job, yeah.
If you're playing or portraying a killer or a sadist of any kind, and people don't despise you, then did you do well?
Yeah, I know. I've told the story quite a few times. The actress that got me into my first movie, this was a couple of years back. We were chatting, and she goes, "I know you," and she goes, "You're one of the nicest guys I've ever met." She goes, "But you freaking scare me in movies." And I go, "Well, thank you." then I do my job. Yeah. And you know where that evil. Sometimes it's a little scary of where that evil comes from. I would think it's probably from watching villains and in horror movies and all that. We just pull that back because I don't think.
Well, hopefully it's not inside of us.
Yeah, hopefully it's not. I don't think either one of us are closet serial killers, but we play one on TV.
We play one literally. You know, it's funny because I've talked with some of the actresses and seen how they get to their very, very emotional, dramatic state, and they pull from personal experience in the past. And when we do something where we kill somebody in a heinous way, or we do something absolutely evil to somebody, it is true that you're kind of like, where did you have to go to get that? And I don't know if you don't want to say, I searched inside, or you just say, yeah, I thought about the Jasons, the Michaels, the Freddys, the Leatherface, whatever the case may be, and I just personified them through this to get that expression. Because that's a much safer route than saying, well, when I was a kid.
Yeah. I know when I'm doing scenes, especially with actresses, because of a lot of it, the culture nowadays. I make sure I go through everything that's going to happen during that scene, and and reiterate to them that, look, this is just acting. If there's something you don't feel comfortable with, then we don't have to do this.
Exactly.
I just don't want any actor or actress on set to feel uncomfortable with anything that I'm doing.
Right.
And I'll run it by them. And we were talking about the biggest thing that I've run in with actresses is they don't want to spit on me. They don't. They just don't want to spit on me. And I tell them, look, it's fine. It adds to the movie. And just don't spit in my eyes. Spit on my cheek.
That's my limit right there.
Yeah, just don't spit in my eyes. And most of them have come around. Some of them it's been just like But I said no. I don't want them to.
Or pull out something from last week up there.
Yeah, I don't want that kind of spit. But I want it to look real.
Sure.
I want it to. Because that's our whole job, is to suspend belief for the people watching the movie that, damn, that really happened.
Yeah. I mean, when you're doing a scene where something like that is happening, where you're doing a kill scene or a torture scene or any of that type of interaction, if the audience is falling asleep in it, then you guys kind of failed to do your job. You want the audience to almost feel visibly uncomfortable with what they're watching, and if you've done that, then success.
And you've done a successful scene if you start upsetting the crew.
Yes.
Then it's like yes. Yes.
Speaking of that, there was if I can bring up a example.
Sure.
We filmed a movie. I won't name it because it's not been out yet. But I had to reach inside of a girl's throat after I choked her with some plastic wrap over her mouth. And so the way we decided to do it was, I said, first off, I'm going to put it over, the camera was right over top of her face. So I was off camera, but the plastic wrap was over top of her face. And she had fake blood in her mouth. So she has a fake tongue in her mouth, fake blood in her mouth, and real saran wrap over her face. So I told her, before we even start, I'm now choking you. So I'm going to watch your hands, which are on the table. You give me a visual by lifting your hand up, and I'll pull the plastic wrap away, because obviously I don't want you to die on set. And she said, fair enough. So we go to film, say action, I wrap the plastic wrap, and I'm now scared because from a legitimacy standpoint, I'm killing her. And I'm relying on her to let me know when she's at a throttle. And we went for, I swear, what felt like more than a minute. Blood, the fake blood had spit up on the thing, so her face was now covered with blood, so I couldn't see her eyes. I couldn't see distress. She was clearly distressed, but she wasn't moving her hands, so I kept going. And I glanced over at the director who was watching the monitor, and he turned it off because he was so disturbed by what he was watching. He couldn't. So she finally lifted her hand. I pulled the thing away quickly. I was like, are you okay? And she was like, yeah, I just wanted to make sure it went a long time so it would be really authentic. I'm like, you scared the crap out of everybody in this room. Thank you very much.
I had a scene where I got suffocated with a plastic bag over my head. and it was the same thing. I was on my knees and the people were behind me. And the girl had put the thing over, we had to signal with my hand down here. We were only shooting from probably here up, so that wasn't on screen. But every time I did it was good because I would breathe in before it would go on, and then I could. I had some movement. One time it came down on, and I just breathed out. And it's right over my, and I don't have any air.
Yeah.
And I let it go as long as I could, waiting to hear cut. I didn't hear cut, and I go.
I'm tapping out, please.
And I was hoping that they, but the sequence and when that happened, the two stars of the movie had turned and were walking away because, I'm sure it really looked cool when I had the breath in me.
Yeah.
But it was so far back you couldn't see it. But the one time I didn't get the breathing sequence right and just didn't have any air.
Some of the stuff we do is kind of scary. I mean, some of the fight sequences that we do, if you want authenticity, the first one I told you about earlier, we did a scene where the guy puts me to the ground hard and then he stomps on my face. He's got big boots on and he smashes my face with his boots. And we filmed, a lateral angle, so my head is here, and he was going to come down on the other side of it, but we wanted to make it as authentic as possible. So he was terrified. I was on the ground, so obviously I was terrified. And we started a little bit wide, and it didn't look real, so we moved his foot closer and closer and closer. And it got to the point that when I felt the brush of his pant leg touch my cheek, I would turn my head sideways so that the camera would look like it basically stomped on my face. And when you think about what that means, he stomps down as hard as he can, about a millimeter or two away from the side of your face. Yeah. So you get some injuries, you get some memories. You hope you walk away and you have fun along the way, right?
Yeah. Well, there was one scene where I had to be hung in a basement. And luckily it was
no brace, no guard,
nothing.
No,
just noose around my neck. And luckily the basement was low enough that I could stand. And I told the director, I said, I'll give you 15, 20 seconds. And so
you're gonna hang yourself for 15 seconds.
Yeah. And so because the real hanging, when they hang somebody, it's more the snap.
Right.
That kills the people,
Gotcha.
and not the
actual hanging.
Not the actual hanging. But they got all the lights and everything ready, and I just said, okay, here we go. And I just lifted up my legs, and I was actually hanging there. And the scene looks real because
it is.
Yeah, because if you don't do that, then you don't get the pull on the skin, and
You just mentioned that I had a fight sequence where a girl had to punch me in the face. And you said it looks real. And we couldn't get the angle to show that she wasn't, or that she was missing me, purposely missing me so I don't hurt myself.
Yeah.
And we tried for about an hour and we couldn't get the angle. We couldn't, we dodged in the front, dodged behind. We could always see her hand. And I was getting tired. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning. So I said, you know what? Just hit me.
Just hit me.
And the girl was like, are you serious? I said, look, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to clench my jaw. I'm just asking you, hit me on the bone. If you hit me in the teeth, you're going to break my teeth. Now, don't go full force, but you got to deliver.
Yeah.
But just hit me on the corner of my jaw. I'm going to lock my teeth out, so that way I'm going to hurt my jaw, but you're not going to break my teeth. And I told the camera guy, please get this in one shot, because I don't want to get punched over and over. Like, okay, here we go. And she did it. And you watch the scene, and it's out there on YouTube. And the first time I showed somebody goes, holy crap, she looked like she punched you in the face. I'm like, yeah, it looks real because she punched me in the face.
Yeah. But let me tell you a little trick that I may have learned somewhere. What you do when you make a fist, you pretend you have a raw egg in your hand. Okay? And you can...
So that way it's not as...
Yeah.
Wow.
And so you can...
Yeah.
No, it's going to hurt, but that
that's
absorbs.
a lot better than
That
that.
absorbs.
Like
yeah.
that. Remember that.
So tell them to pretend they have a raw egg there, and then they can smack you pretty good. I don't know where I learned that at.
Good stuff.
Yeah, but yeah,
if anybody says you don't learn something new every day, I just learned something new every day.
There you go. And if you're gonna get an elbow or a forearm hitting somebody, right before you hit them, you turn your hand
so you get the meat of it as opposed to the bone. Yeah.
So you go.
Definitely.
Don't know where I learned that at, but
I'm sure there's a story behind that one as well.
There's a story behind them both. But yeah, it's funny the stuff we've done for cinema.
Yeah, to entertain. Have you broken any bones or torn any muscles for entertainment purposes yet?
Nope.
No.
In fact, to be honest, almost 75. I've never had a broken bone.
Wow.
Well, I qualify that though. Okay. Years ago, I had jaw surgery.
Okay.
So they broke my jawbone, slid it forward, and pinned it back together. Again. I don't count that as
that was purposeful.
Yeah, that was cosmetic. Because there was a time I wasn't as pretty as what I am now. This is I wasn't always
this is years, the build to this for years.
Yeah, it took me a long time to get to this. But I don't count that as a broken bone. But I've never had a finger broken and all that. And I've bungee jumped and scuba dived and
I've done those. I did a film with a Krav Maga expert, and my role was to basically be a juggernaut type character. No skills, just keep moving forward and kill kind of thing. Yeah. Don't block anything. Don't do anything. Well, she did a kick here, and we ended up getting about 7 or 8 takes. And you would think that over time she would not hit the same exact 3-inch block. Well, she was good enough that she hit the exact same thing every single time. So fast forward a couple months, and I still can't breathe in deep. And so I was like, I think she might have broken a rib. So I went to get x-rays, and they were like, you didn't break anything, you didn't crack anything, we don't see any egg. So I said, well, what did she do? And they said the muscle in between the ribs, she tore the muscle in between the ribs. And I'm like, so can you do anything for that? They were like, you just have to let it heal. It's going to take a long time. So good stuff.
Yeah, I've never...
not even in wrestling? You haven't nothing in...
No. Well, in wrestling, I'm especially in the state of Maryland, I'm pretty protected. Okay. Wrestlers can't touch me in Maryland.
Gotcha.
But I've taken chairs to the back, and kicks to the head, and
but nothing from any of those. Huh?
No, nothing.
Very fortunate.
Yeah, nothing. Well, it's there's tricks to everything.
Okay.
And but I will tell you, chairs to the back freaking hurt.
And that's something you wouldn't think you'd have to tell anybody, that getting hit with a chair in your back actually hurts.
It hurts, but it doesn't hurt near as bad as what it sounds like.
Okay.
I mean, it just...
Oh, yeah, that goes.
I mean, it's like...
Yeah.
But it hurts.
Yeah.
But everything in wrestling is built on... hoping the other person knows what they're doing.
So it's like a dance. It's like a dance sequence.
Like a dance, yeah. And so you're hoping the person that hits you with the chair holds the chair right, hits you between your neck and your kidney, in the big part of your back.
Okay.
And hits you flush.
Yeah. So they don't accidentally.
Yeah. So it's that's where
it's just like a smack more.
Yeah, that's where the sound comes from. And you can't get hit with something like that because they don't pull them. Right. They don't they hit you full steam, and they do hurt, but they don't not near as much as what they sound. The first time I had that happen, man, I heard it and I thought this has got to hurt, and it wasn't bad. No, wasn't bad. Just got up and walked out of it. Wasn't walking strange the next day or anything, wow. But I've never. I have been gored. I was gored one time. In the corner, the guy wanted to gore me in the middle of the ring, and I didn't know him. And I said, "How about if you knock me into the corner and then gore me in the corner?"
Okay.
And he went from the other and gored me in the corner, and I fell down. And I know in that instance, I laid there until people were leaving the.
You just laid out.
I just laid there like I was completely knocked out. Here and I did that 2 times. One time up in Pennsylvania, and Dr. Frank, who is anybody that's has watched professional wrestling knows Dr. Frank from his WWE days years ago. I'm laying there, and I hear him start to pack up chairs and everything, and I'm still laying in the corner like I'm out cold. And he comes over and he goes, "I'm going to pretend to give you smelling salts so you can get the hell out of here." and I got up, and then I was able to stagger out of there.
That's great.
But again, neither one of them really hurt.
Wow.
They look dramatic.
Yeah.
But
I always find it interesting especially when you get done with a fall. Falls especially are fun because you don't know exactly what you're gonna hit.
Yeah.
We were talking about before was in the film Blood on the Bleachers and took a face dive onto some metal bleachers, and it doesn't, you're adrenaline rushed and caffeine rushed while you're doing it, so you don't really notice what's happening, and you're also in the moment of trying to make sure everything looks good, and then you wake up the next day and you're like, "Oh yeah, I got one there, and there. Yeah. Oh yeah, the kidneys are sore. All right, good to know." Throw down some Tylenol and just work your way through, and you keep going.
In the movie The Jester, I ended up got my shoestrings tied together by the Jester, and I do a face plant right into a tombstone, and so they let me fall to my knees, got that of me, and then the person falling flat on was a stunt man, and then what they did was on the tomb, it was a real tombstone. Did the old reverse.
Oh, okay.
So, you put my head against the tombstone and then
come up. Yep.
So it looked like I went right into the corner of the tombstone.
I will say that being still a novice in this, it's really neat learning stuff like that. Done a few films where we've done punches or those kind of things where you film it backwards, and it's the first time you're like, "There's no way this is going to look real," and sure enough, it does.
Yeah.
We filmed something recently where the way the house's hallway was done. This is from one of my short films. They said, "We're going to, instead of having you go to this door, which we've already established, we need you to go to this door because the hallway goes this way, and use your left hand instead of your right hand." And I'm like, "This is not going to look right." And he pulls out his phone, and he said, "Okay, videotape yourself putting your hand on this door. Now videotape your hand on this door. Now let's do the mirror of it." And it was the same look. I'm like, so when the film came out and my girlfriend watched it, I told her, I said, "Take a look at this scene. What doesn't look right about this?" And she watched it, and she was like, "You're going into the bedroom, but that's not the bedroom." And I said, "Let's watch it again." She was like, "Wait a minute, the house is reversed." And I was like, "Yes." And it was the coolest thing in the world. But even the DP that was on set in the end, they were like, "Is this going to look right? Because it's the wrong hand on the opposite side door. But when you mirror it, it's the same."
Oh, it's amazing. I just, whether I'm acting in scenes, I just love being on set, watching how lighting is set up, camera angles. It still amazes me how they can shoot and turn day scenes into night scenes.
Yes.
Because I came into this business knowing nothing about it.
No.
Nothing at all about it. And I'm just, I'm like a sponge.
Yeah.
I want to know. And I tell when I'm working with, new camera people and lighting people and sound, I tell them, look, I'm not asking because you're not doing it right.
Sure.
I'm asking because I
genuinely want to know.
Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
and movie making, and I love going to see the movies then to see what was done, how it looks in the movies, and it's like, oh man, I know what was. This person was in the scene, and I was standing right here. Right. But it looks like they're in this room by themselves.
Yep.
It's
the magic behind how all of it's done is just baffling, and I can only assume that a veteran in the industry, somebody that's done this, started out as a kid and done it their entire lives, that it's almost commonplace to them. And I guess part of me hopes that I never get to that, because it feels, when you experience something that you've never seen before done, it's almost like being a kid at Christmas time.
Yeah.
There was a short film that I did, actually my first short film that I did. I wanted the actor to talk to himself, or I wanted the mirror to talk to the actor. So he's in the mirror, and I was like, is this even possible? And the DP I was working with was like, yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to use the mirror as a vertical splice. We'll film this side, we'll film this side. And I was like, okay, cool. I trust you. You're a professional. And when it's done, I was just like, you watch it and you're like, it's the kind of thing that you see on the, to use a cliche, on the big screen. And you're like, this is mine.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know if you've written anything yet.
No.
Okay. I think that's one of the things that's marveled me. I mean, I love acting and I love doing fight choreography. The fight choreography obviously stemming from martial arts background. So, like I said before, all the stuff that I do on set for fights is legitimate fighting tactics, and then just toned down so nobody gets hurt. Or if somebody's going to get hurt, I try to make sure that I'm the one that gets hurt so nobody else gets hurt. And I'm okay with that. But when you get into the writing aspect, it dawned on me after probably my second short film that there's an idea that's in your head that's just out of nothingness, and now it's on paper, and now it's being filmed, and then you see it on a literal big screen, and just maybe it's just me, but the idea behind that was nothing.
Yeah.
And now there it is. It's really kind of amazing. And that's why I'm challenged myself. I did 3 short films so far, and I decided to challenge myself to the next level, which would be a feature film. And it's definitely a little bit more of an undertaking than a short film.
Yeah, it is.
A short film is, write it for a day, edit the script for a day, film in a day or 2, and you're good to go. The Hive, which is the film that the feature film that I wrote, or that I finished writing at least, it was a year to a year and a half for the first couple, what I initially called yes, I'm done writing. And then I submitted it to have it professionally reviewed. And they have 3 different reviewers that do names that I've actually heard the movies that they have reviewed in the past. So, they're real movies. And, some of them are like, this point's good, that point's good, that point's good, this point's complete crap. And you're like, okay. So I spent another year roughly revising the script, taking to heart what they said, trying not to take it personal, and expanding on characters, expanding on depth of characters, building character arcs, which, like you, I don't have any professional or educational experience in anything that I'm doing. I just love movies. I've loved movies my entire life, so I'm one of those jerks that can watch a movie and then probably quote it from beginning to end the next time I watch it, which my girlfriend can't stand. Most of the brilliant insights that I have come from probably a movie that I watched in the 80s, which I'm just regurgitating some prose from them. But you just kind of say to yourself, I'm going to have some thick skin. I'm going to take their advice because they're professionals. I know I have a vision, but I need to listen to what they're telling me, make revisions, move forward, get advice from people. I've been very fortunate so far. I've talked with attorneys, not from a legal perspective, but from like sending them scenes that the attorneys are in and saying, is this right? Because I'm not an attorney. I have no idea what the hell they would say.
Yeah.
And that sounds completely wrong. We're not like that. And I'm like, okay, good to know. Revise that. Talk to police officers, friends of mine. Is this what a police officer says? Not at all. Let me help you. So I've gotten a lot of input from a lot of really, really talented professionals that are hybrid professional actors and professionals in their professional craft to help guide me to make sure that the film that I have will be as authentic as it can possibly be, obviously with the indie budget that goes along with it. But, I want the characters to be genuine. I want their conversations to feel real. And ideally, I want an audience that's watching it to relate to different pieces of different people in the film. The film has a lot of drama in it. It's not a classic horror slasher by any stretch of the imagination. It's got a lot of thriller aspect. It's got a lot of drama aspect. There's emotional aspect. It deals with people that are kidnapped, and you have to deal with the emotions, the range of emotions that are felt by family members of their loved ones that are missing. So, if you look at it from a psychology perspective, you have the range of emotions that you go through: the anger, the frustration, the upsetment, the depression. And I try to capture different characters going through all those different emotions. So in that regard, I'm not that I'm wanting somebody to be able to relate from my child's missing perspective, but from a, wow, that feels like depression. That individual in the film is pissed off because her younger sister is gone and the police aren't doing what she thinks everything they can do. I can empathize with what they're feeling. And so that level of authenticity, for me at least, is very, very important. I want this to be a genuine thing. So that's I think why a lot of time has been invested in. I'm not pumping out a script to see if I can just throw another movie on top of the pile. I don't want that.
Yeah.
So
that happens every once in a while.
Yeah, and to I think everybody is in this journey for a different thing. A lot of people, good, bad, it doesn't really matter to me. Everybody's, some people are going for volume. I put out 1,000 movies this month. Cool, that's awesome for you.
Yeah.
I don't know. This may be honestly just a one and done because I'm putting everything into this one, both figuratively and literally. And so when the editing is done and the musical score is added, I have some musicians and some bands that are volunteering to actually create music for the film, which, like we talked about before, who the hell am I that somebody would say, and that a band would say, yes, we will write a song for your movie explicitly. So I've been very blessed in that regard. And so I don't know, after this chapter is done, it's going to obviously be a long chapter, but I don't know what will happen after this, but I will say that if this is the only feature that I do, I want to make sure that when it's done, it's a holy crap moment, if you will.
Something to be proud of.
Yeah, exactly. When I did my shorts, there's something I told the people, both on the back end and on the front end, the crew and the cast. I told them from the get-go, I'm hiring people for this film, the short film that I'm doing. So yes, people will get paid for the film. But I will tell you that this is my money and my name is going on as the writer, producer, blah, blah, blah. If this is embarrassing, I'll delete the files and I don't care. I have no qualms about doing that whatsoever because, like you said, it's something I want to be proud of. When the finished product goes out there, I don't want people to go, God, that's a joke. This is Sean's crap? No. I want people to be like, damn. And to feel it, not just watch it.
Especially if your name's on it.
Yeah.
I know we've both have done some crapo movies, but the only way our name's attached to it is we're an actor in it.
We're an actor.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's not our film.
Yeah.
You know?
And
I asked somebody when I first got started, I said, is it possible for somebody to have do a great acting role in a crap-o movie? And they go, yeah. And it's not, just because it's a crap movie, that's not a reflection on you.
Sure.
Because that was your job.
Yeah.
You did your job right.
Yeah.
And so that's what I try to do on every movie I do is I tell people I may not be the best actor out there, but when I walk onto a movie set, you're going to get 150% of what I can do.
Oh yeah.
It may not be may not be the best out there,
right?
But it's the best I can do,
right?
Because I'm not. That's my image out there.
Mm-hmm.
That's my name out there, and I don't want my part of what I'm doing to be crap.
Yeah.
Everything else around it can be crap.
I have no control over all that. If I'm acting or if I'm doing a fight scene in a film or a kill scene in a scene or in a film, you're going to get. There have been scenes where, they'll be setting up a scene and I've had to take a nap. You set up the scene, you get everything set because I want to make sure that I'm wide awake, ready to go, 110%. Because we've been filming for 12 hours so far, so I'm going to be on the floor. Taking a power nap, wake me up when we're ready to go. I'll pound a monster or whatever I need to do to get amped up for the scene. But you can be guaranteed when you say action, you're going to get somebody that looks like they are fresh regardless. Yeah. And because, like you said, this is my name and my reputation is sitting in the lines that I'm saying, the actions that I'm doing. And so when you take it to the next level higher, when you're the writer, the producer, the director, your name is on the whole bubble. So if in the end of the day it looks like complete crap and it's an embarrassment, I will learn from it. I will move on and we'll go back to a script and we'll see you again another day. So, but I've been very lucky in this process. The casting has been slow purposely. I'm doing the casting myself, watching every single audition, going role by role. And I will say it's been a learning experience. I'm glad I did it this way because there have been people that have said, I'd like to audition for this role, and they've done good in this role, top 5. And there have been some where I've gotten 50 or 60 auditions, so top 5 in this role, but I see something in them that I'm like, you know what, they are in the top 5 here, I know they'll be in the top 1 there. So I'll pitch them, hey, this one hasn't been announced yet. Is that something you want to maybe audition for? And there have been cases where I've had somebody audition for a role that I haven't even announced yet because I saw something in that audition, which, like I said, they were really good here. They were phenomenal there. And it's, you don't get that if you say, here's all 50 roles, go for the one that you want. Yeah, yeah. Because you can't focus on that much stuff at once. So,
yeah, I had a case where I did a project and I auditioned for one role, and they got back with me and said, nah, but we'd like you to audition for this role. And I got it. Yeah. Because it was right up my alley. Yeah. But, it's, we were talking earlier with, quite as old as what I am, but not every movie has a role for me in it. Sure. It's got to be, although I get cameos. Right. I'll take cameos and, it's another IMDb credit and I get to be on a movie set.
There you go.
Because good.
It's a few more contacts, a few more more bubbles to be a part of. Yeah, definitely. But you're right that it goes back to what you were saying earlier about wishing we had gotten to this when you were younger. Yeah. I joke because I gear myself now towards attorneys, judges, grandparents, that kind of thing. Yeah. The young hot Biff is going out to the campground. No, those days are long gone.
Yep. I know sometimes it gets frustrating seeing casting notices, and you you read the synopsis and you think, oh, that sounds interesting, and then you start to read the characters and it says 20 to 30, 30 to 40, and then every once in a while it'll be 60 to 70 grandfather, and but they're but it's okay. Yeah, it's okay.
I always also try to dive in, especially if there's going to be a campground. There's always going to be a cook and a janitor, so I try to see if they have those filled yet.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't have a problem with cameo role.
Oh, heck no.
You can make those characters your own.
Heck yeah.
And stand out. I got a movie coming up where I play. I got some lines, but I'm going to be playing 5:36 a.m.
I forgot to bring coffee. That's my bad.
Cool. I'm going to play a motel clerk.
Okay.
And the guy, first time working with him, but he says, how you want to.
This is you.
How you want to do the character? It's up to you. And
nice.
I got some ideas to make that character. Even though I'm only going to have probably not even 5 minutes on screen.
It's going to be memorable.
It's going to be memorable. It's going to be memorable.
That's great.
And so I'm looking forward to that. And then I just got taken on for a role. Not real clear what it is, but it's not the starring role, but I'd say one of the top 3 or 4 roles in the movie.
Yeah. And
the nice thing about it is I understand it's a horror movie that I survive at the end.
Hey, there you go. Come back for the sequel.
Yeah, come back for the sequel. That's always important.
Always
if you can in a horror movie, survive the movie.
That's right.
But then again, you can always come back as your twin.
Or if you go with the Dexter realm, you can come back as the spirit of a lost loved one. Yeah.
Or like Jason or Michael Myers.
Just come back over and over and over.
Just all of a sudden you look out the window. You went through the window and he's not there.
He's not there anymore.
And so I'm looking that we should start shooting that maybe next month. Haven't seen the final script on that yet, but I accepted the role just through concept.
Yeah.
And
very cool.
So yeah, I got some stuff coming up. Slowly getting back into the swing of things.
Good stuff.
I still have the drive, just don't have energy for a long time. And I know if I go out, it's going to be tough to be on set for 12 hours. Yeah. But that's what naps are for.
That's right. Hey, there have been people that have taken pictures of me taking power naps on set, and I'm like, I'm not embarrassed by it at all.
You know what? I usually get on set, and I just enjoy being there, and the camaraderie, and meeting new people, and talking to people. Until the end of the 12 hours, it's like you don't realize how tired you are.
No. Yeah, I mean I think the slowest period is when you're when lights and stuff are being set up, all that kind of, because everybody's focused on what they're doing. You're not supposed to be making a lot of noise, and they need concentration. So you're kind of like,
What I do hate about movie sets is when you're told the call time is 10 a.m. and then you sit there and your scene isn't shot until 6 p.m.
Yeah.
I would think there could be a little bit better planning.
Yeah. I'm not going to say anything because I'm not sure if mine will work out that well or not. I want to say I hate that too, and everybody goes, "Yeah, Sean, we hated that for us on your film."
You'll find out, and I'm sure it's working on a full movie. I'm sure there's so much to it. We were talking earlier. I started a production company and made one short, and I'm not sure if there's going to be other shorts. I'm not sure. And I decided on that one short I wanted to be the director, and once there was only myself and two other actors in the short, that I wanted to be the director so that I could put director.
Yes,
I was the director.
definitely.
But I'm done. I have no desire.
You've done it, and you're not even sure if you want to keep it on the IMDb just because somebody may say, "Hey, we saw that you were directing."
Yeah, and we want you to direct this, and I have no desire to. So I think I'm gonna slowly move back to just being an actor.
Nothing wrong with that.
Just learning your lines, showing up, doing your job, and then going home.
Yeah.
Because it's a whole lot less drama that way.
Yeah, I mean,
You know.
I think I've directed 2 short films so far, and I've been very fortunate in the fact that the DP on each of them used 2 different DPs. They were very skilled at what they did, so we collaborated some on ideas. Both of them were educationally trained in what they were doing, so where I am not, my ideas come from vision, probably from a movie I've seen, something that's been impactful. They were able to explain to me why maybe that scene was impactful, or that angle was impactful, or we want to use this lighting versus this lighting. And here I'm going to sound ignorant because I don't understand, I don't know the technical name of that lighting versus this lighting.
Yeah.
They would explain, well, you want this because it does this with the tones. I'm like, cool. I know the vision that I want, and there have been instances where I've snipped scenes from real movies, and I'm like, I don't know what the math is behind this, but that's what the feel I want. And so they're like, oh yeah, we need this lens and this light and this gel thing that sits over top of them, and they were like, we can get that exact feel for you. I'm like, make it happen.
I know, if anything, working in the movie business has changed the way I watch movies, because I watch scenes like that and go, how did they do that? Where was the lighting to get that kind of lighting on those people? The biggest thing that I have with watching movies anymore, and it's tough to get away from it once you spot it, is, and there's no way around it. Yeah. There's no way around it. When they're shooting, and people can zoom in and see it here, that we have 2 lights here.
Yeah.
And
so there's reflections off of different stuff that are shiny.
Yeah, and you can see it in our eyes.
Yep.
And I'll watch the actor and go, yeah, there was light there and a light there. They did it from one light, or you know, and no way around that.
No,
they are pretty good. It's tough to catch in a lot of movies. You got to watch when you have cars in a scene.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
You know, because there's so many. Not only the windows, but there's so many
all
angles.
The mirrors, you got the reflection points. Yeah.
And the curve of the fenders and all that will pick up. But they're tougher to find. Yeah. And if it's an outside scene, it's tough to really pick it. Is that a stage light, or is that a street light?
Exactly.
You know, but some of them are kind of obvious. Sure. Especially when they shoot a scene and somebody opens up a door.
Yes. Well, yeah. In my short film, The Present, my front door is glass. And so we had to be very careful. We actually opened it and closed it multiple times to make sure we couldn't see people, we couldn't see equipment, we couldn't see lights.
Yeah.
The one that gets me is continuity. That is...
oh, yeah.
I mean, there's nothing that sticks out to me more than watching somebody either eat a meal or smoke a cigarette, and their cigarettes bouncing back and forth all over the place, or their drink glasses getting filled.
Going up or moving from here to here.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
I know years ago, probably 37 years ago now, I was involved in a movie, Sweet Dreams, a Hollywood production, and I luckily had to roll with a bartender. Well, they would come around, and I've seen it on other, mostly higher budget movies, but I've seen it on some independent movies. They'll come around and take pictures.
Yes.
But man, they were real sticklers on that movie, and they'll go, you know, look at the the bar behind there. That bottle was turned this way.
A little bit this way, yeah.
And another trick from that is, don't know how it is now with copyrights and laws, but back then, if the label showed out, those people paid, the company paid to have their label shown.
Yeah.
If it was turned around, even if it was a Jack Daniels bottle, you knew it was a Jack Daniels bottle, but you didn't see the label.
Doesn't matter, yeah.
Yeah, and they'd come in, and look at the. I did. Oh, geez, I did one movie where I was in a like a Days Inn.
Okay.
And we were having breakfast, continental breakfast, and it was a comedy. It was probably the only comedy I've done. And I was there, and anything to look odd. But it so happened that the toaster wasn't working, and so they had Eggos. And so to start with, the Eggos were cold. They weren't toasted. And then I decided it would be funny to put ketchup on it, just to be funny. Not so funny after the 20th time when you're having to eat cold Eggos with ketchup on. So watch what you add when you're in a scene where you're eating, because you may have to eat that a lot.
Yeah, it's same regard. We were filming Depravity, and we needed a pickup scene, and we had to come up with something. We were not able to use a police station, so I said, well, what if I was playing the sheriff. I was like, well, what if it's the morning time and I'm having my cup of coffee and I'm smoking a cigarette at my house and the deputy comes by and we talk. I was thinking it would be not that big of a deal, but again, we're talking about me with continuity issues, so I don't smoke. One of the other cast members did. He had Camel cigarettes. You already know where this is going. Yeah. So, for those that don't know, when you film wide, which gets both people. Then you film one person, then you film the other person. You have to do inserts. That's where you get a lot of continuity issues, where you film this way, and then you injected a piece of a conversation here, and suddenly either the drink is up or down, or the cigarette's bad, or whatever. We finished filming, and I ended up, by counting of cigarette butts, I think it was 4 Camel cigarettes in about 35 minutes. And like I said, I don't smoke. I had a head rush. I had a headache. My stomach felt like I was going to puke. I went inside and I told the guy, I was like, I can reimburse these for you if you want. He opened up the pack. He was like, do you feel okay? And I'm like, no, I don't. I don't feel good at all. So, and the worst of it, that scene didn't even get used in the film.
Oh, jeez.
But yeah, I made sure that there was not going to be a continuity issue of the cigarette length. It was going to go down naturally regardless.
Yeah, cigarettes are tough, because they just keep burning. I know in a couple movies I've done, they've used the fake cigarettes, and they kind of look like fake cigarettes. Fake cigarettes, yeah. It's but you don't have to worry about the continuity there. But yeah, liquids in glasses. That in sequence of what you do.
Yeah, that's the hardest from an actor's perspective, because I remember I had a DP tell me once, they were like, when you remember this, when you shoot your 7 takes for this scene, that you have to do everything in the exact same place at the exact same speed so everything lines up. And I'm like, trust me, that's never going to happen. So I get that. So to the best of my ability, I try to make sure movements and whatnot are at least roughly close. Or if I know they're going to be not shooting multiple cameras, I try to keep motions and whatnot to a minimum so that I don't have to recreate them over and over.
I know several years back, I was background on a movie, and the main actor in the movie was shot in a bowling alley, and they had a sequence where the camera was going to follow him around, doing stuff. Right. And I was amazed how he could do everything exactly the same.
Wow.
Exactly the same. pick up and look at the calendar. Set this down here, and as an actor, those are little things. But man, when you see somebody that can do that, and it was just sitting there watching them, I wouldn't have been able to tell you one take from another.
Right. Wow.
And it went on for 2-3 minutes.
Jeez.
And I was impressed with him on that. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff in in making movies that if you haven't ever been on a movie set, you just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. The first film that I did, was, like I said, before, it's Peter Anthony's Roseblood. It's a Friday the 13th fan film, and I didn't know anything about film at all. So I figured, when you're done filming, you're pretty much done. It's ready to go. And fast forward 6-8 months, and I'm like, I have family. Like, are you sure you went to go film in a movie? And I'm like, no, I did. There, it's in this thing called post production.
Yeah.
And fast forward a couple of years now, and I'm like, you come to realize that the filming part is probably one of the shortest parts of the entire thing.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if you look at the entirety of it all, between the casting and the Zoom calls so that you can get the vibe of everybody working together, and then you find locations, and then you get on set, and you got wardrobe, and you got makeup, and then you film the scene, and then after you're like, well, saw you for 3 hours today, see ya. And that 3 hours may be for 45 seconds in the scene.
Maybe.
And then now it's like, great, now we go to editing, now color correction, now musical score, now we got to do the fixing of the sound, now we got to fix this, we got to edit this, tweak that, and you're just like, wow, how little did I realize what actually happens. And I'm sure, I have no doubts that I'm still have 1,000 things to learn, which is a little bit daunting considering I'm about to undertake it all.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of work goes into any movie, whether it's a good movie
you hope a lot of work goes into it.
Yeah. Some of them probably more work should go into it, but even the what's political way to say it? Even the movies that aren't that good, still take a lot of work.
Yeah.
Still take a lot of work. I just, as an actor, I don't care what I do, but I really don't care what the product looks like when it comes out. I just want it to come out.
Right.
Because in most cases in the independent movie business, we're both up to a point where we have paid roles. But we have a lot of unpaid roles. Right. We're just doing it because we like the person, we like the movie, whatever reason. And so we're volunteering our time.
Yeah.
And then it gets into post-production, and sometimes it feels like, okay, I did my job.
Right.
Now do your job.
Sure. And
get it out there. And there's, I could think 5, 6, 7 movies that I've worked on over the years that probably aren't ever going to see the light of day. And it's a pity because there was something good about all of them.
Well, and in those films, you almost just want to say, look, if you're not planning to release it, can I at least have my footage? Because I enjoyed what I did, and I would like to use it for my reel.
Yeah.
And in the absence of that, or, there were some great memories in the scenes that I had.
Yeah.
Like the one that we had talked about before. But in the absence of that, it's gone.
Yeah,
it's a memory that is just gone, and that's
hopefully you took some pictures.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm not real good at taking a lot of pictures behind the scenes.
At the indie level productions, I try to get as many pictures as I can. I probably flood too many pictures, just because it's once you're offset, the experience is over.
I just worry about. I guess I don't take the pictures because I guess I worry about what pictures can be shown.
Sure. Yeah, I won't. Yeah, I don't.
These are more for anything. I don't post anything Until I get permission
Right.
from you.
Exactly.
Is
Yeah.
are these okay to post?
And that's one of the things that I try to make sure whoever's in charge of the set, I'm like, okay, here's what I took. Here's everything. Share to whomever what we're allowed to share so we can share. I'm speaking more from the memories kind of
Just
perspective.
memories. Yeah. Yeah, I don't take near enough.
But the bigger productions, the ones that are more, call them just more like celebrity-based productions, they forbid you. I mean, I was in Cobra Kai, and I followed the rules and didn't bring my camera on set with me.
When I did Creed 2,
Okay.
we had to turn in our
To your phones.
phones into whatever they call those bags.
Yeah. Like I said, a lot of people took their cameras on set. They got some wonderful photos with the stars of the series, and truth be told, kind of pissed off that I followed the rules.
Yeah, no,
I don't have those memories.
I know.
I have the memories up here, but they're they have some really awesome shots. Big selfies with them and everything. And I'm like, that this wasn't supposed to be.
Yeah.
I do have to say the funniest one that I had was on Yellowstone, the TV show Yellowstone.
Oh, you were on Yellowstone?
Yeah, you can see from like here down. It's funny. So thank heavens I have a noticeable beard, because I knew where I was in the scene.
Yeah.
We were outside at a fair, and there were probably 300 or 400 extras there.
Wow.
And I knew that Rip and Beth were there, and that's the only people that I saw. I didn't realize there were other people here, because I was like 4 people back. So in the scene, they were having a conversation, and obviously everybody that was a novice was just geared in, staring at him, and the guy had to keep coming, please stop staring at them. You're supposed to be looking at a fake stage that's up there, listening to a band that's not there. Stop staring at the stars. But they told everybody before we walked on set, do not take a photo with them, do not take a photo of them, do not approach them, do not talk to them. If we even see your phone out of your pocket, regardless, you're gone, no questions asked. So didn't get to do anything there, but it was funny when that episode finally came out. I was like, well, based on where the camera was, they were filming this way, and I was in between. I split them. I knew where I was, but they they fuzzy the background. I could see the motions, and I was like, yeah, I know that's me, just because I know the motions that I did. But then my buddy that I used to work with, he texts me and he was like, hey, you on Yellowstone, right? And I'm like, yeah. He was like, I saw you. And I was like, you bullshit, you didn't see me, because I knew where I was. I was like, I didn't see me. He goes, no, I saw your beard. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? I'm thinking to myself, now you're being specific. You saw my beard. And he sends me the photo, and I did not know that there was a camera here running across this way. And sure enough, if I had gone like this, I would have had my whole face in the thing. I'm like, son of a bitch. So, it's, yeah, I mean, in those productions, unfortunately, all of those memories are just cerebral, and which means they'll at one point be gone.
Well, that's just nature of the beast.
Yeah, and I think that's why when I'm on an indie film, I probably go overboard. I mean, and because you bring your phone out and you can take 50 photos, and who cares? It doesn't cost anything. It's no big deal. So I just, and if I never see them again, so be it. But they're there. There's a physical of the experience that was had. And
when I shot the movie with Ed Harris and Jessica Lange 35, 37 years ago, we were told the same thing, but Ed was such a cool guy.
Was
he was always over talking with us.
That's cool.
And Jessica would show up, do what she had to do, and leave.
Yeah.
And I asked Ed, I said, is she that stuck up? And he goes, no. He said, she's just shy.
Oh, okay.
He said, when you get a chance, just say hi, even though we weren't, just say hi to her. And I did one time. She was sitting at the bar. And we had just a few conversations. I never felt that it ever got beyond that I'm Jessica Lange and you're not.
Right.
But we at least had some, and then there was a dollar bill scene in the movie where you see Ed paying, and I see as my hand taking the bill, So I had to bill. So the last night of shooting, I think, no, it wasn't the last night because there was an incident on the last night. But I asked Ed after we were done shooting that scene, I said, will you sign this for me? And he goes, yeah. He said, when we get done and I get let go, when I walk out, just follow me.
Yeah.
And we got outside and
that's cool.
He signed a bill for me because he knows if he'd have signed it in there, everybody would have been,
yeah.
So I don't know anybody else got
That's
Ed's
cool.
address on there, but yeah, that was. I just tell people after I shot that movie that I was between movies. Little did I know it was going to be 35 years between, or about 30 years between movies. In fact, when I started working on independent movies, IMDb, I wanted to add Sweet Dreams to it,
Right.
and I sent it in. They got back with me and said, "Are you sure we're talking about the same person?" You know.
That's
But
funny.
I finally got it.
Nice.
Got it added because I was an extra, but I was had a job.
Right.
I was a bartender.
Yeah.
So, but that was an experience. And then I did get one picture of Jessica Lange.
Okay.
She was sitting at the bar. I only got a side picture. She was sitting at the bar, and I took Ed stand-in. I took a picture of him. Well, he's standing here, and Jessica's sitting at the bar. So I got a picture of her.
Okay.
But she couldn't say I was taking a picture of her. She
There you
just
go.
happened to be there. But that was an experience. It was shot, in my hometown and in the towns real close to it.
Yeah.
But man, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And we shot in a place called Rainbow Road, and I ended up in it's torn down now, but it was the bar in Anaheim.
Okay.
And I think I shot 4 more movies in there.
Oh wow.
So
Popular place.
Yeah.
That's
It was,
cool.
but it's torn down now. Anaheim, was the last one shot there. Yeah.
Wow.
Last movie shot there. But,
Yeah, it's funny when I did I don't know if it'll go or not, but it was on a Tyler Perry movie called Joe's College Trip or something like that, and it was just an extra as a biker guy, and but when he comes on set, comes on set in focus, he's got a job to do, so it was like, don't approach. Fair enough. We finished filming that night, and I was basically driving home from set that night, and I figured, what the heck? And he was walking this direction, I was walking this direction. I was going to shake his hand. Worst he could say is, go away.
Yeah.
So as just like, Mr. Perry, I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity to be a part of the project, and thank you. And he reached out his hand and shook my hand. He's like, thank you for coming on set. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And probably for him, having some nobody be like, hey, whatever. He's like, whatever. For me, it's like,
yeah.
It's Tyler Perry.
I find most famous people are pretty decent if you just approach them as another human being.
Yeah.
They probably get so much, oh my God, it's Tyler Perry. Whereas if you just, if you went up and go,
oh my God, it's you. Can I get a selfie, please?
But most of them have been, and most of the people you meet at conventions, they're pretty nice people. There's a couple buttholes out there, but you get that in any business. So, so you want to push your movie?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I appreciate the opportunity. So the movie is called The Hive. Easiest way, or the most simplistic way to explain it, is it's a crossover, if you will, between an old Morgan Freeman movie called Kiss the Girls and a movie called Vacancy. So it has to do with women that go missing. For some reason, the police officers have been unable to crack the case across numerous precincts. It's at the state level. They have still been able to find no bodies, no evidence. All trails lead nowhere. They bring in an FBI team to see if they can figure out what the problem is. And through some twists and turns through the film, you find out a classic case of good versus evil. The two main characters being a small town sheriff who's kind of a FAFO kind of sheriff versus a prim and proper by the books FBI agent. And you learn about their backgrounds, and then you watch the character arc of both of them actually switch. And by the third act, my hope is that by the third act, the people that you don't like, you almost feel sorry for, and the people that you were rooting on, you're almost questioning their motives, if you will. So it has several twists and turns. I'm of the old school movie where you kind of pay attention to the movie and not just wait for the music to ramp up for a kill sequence. So if someone is paying attention to the movie, there are Easter eggs and hints through the film, or through the script at this point, through the film that will almost not so much give away the ending, but you'll be better informed, kind of like an M. Night Shyamalan when I See Dead People.
Yeah.
And then you go back and watch it and you realize everywhere there was something red, oh shit, there was a dead person there.
Yeah.
I won't say I went to that extreme, but I'm a fan of that type of thing where if you're paying attention to what I'm doing, you'll follow it before somebody else at the end goes, wait a minute, what happened? And so, yeah, it's going to be a fun ride. It's not like, I won't say it's not like anything I've seen, because obviously I'm pulling concepts from different movies that I've enjoyed my entire life. But as an indie person, I'm trying to touch a lot of emotions, and I'm trying to get into a lot of people's heads, and I'm trying to see if I can get as many people as possible to be relatable to somebody or somebody's in the film. So the idea, obviously, is that, not that I want somebody's child or grandchild to go missing, but that that they feel what the person feels. And it's not just, yeah, we got it, you against you do this, and it's all over wrapped up. Because those are easy to figure out, and there's no emotion. I want, in all of the auditions I've done so far, I explain in almost over detail. I want to feel what the person feels. The lead actress, one of the lead actresses in the film, she has a very dramatic scene where her life is being threatened. And so I had the actresses that were auditioning for that film that specific scene. So the person's threatening your life, they're in your face with a knife, they're in vivid detail describing how they're basically going to beat you to death and cut you from limb to limb kind of mentality. And I want to see your reaction to it. So I got a lot of auditions for that one, and I pretty much didn't bother listening to it, and I didn't bother looking at the scene. I zoomed into their eyes because I want to see what your eyes look like. I know what the person's saying to you, and I don't want to hear the person saying it to you because it's not the person's voice that's going to be doing it. So I already have that voice in my head. I want to see your reaction to it. And the actress that agreed to the role, oh my God, I mean, eyes welling up, tears rolling down, her head shaking, just terrified, and unbelievable. The gentleman playing the sheriff, it was actually the role that I was going to be playing when I first started writing it. I wrote it for myself. And then as I was finishing up the multiple iterations, I decided, you know what, if I can find somebody to take me out of the role, if I can find somebody to allow me to focus on the directing aspect, because when you direct and act, it's very hard because you can't see, you have to go, now you're wasting time looking at every single thing.
Yeah.
Does it have the look that I want? So I was like, if I can find somebody that can do that instead of me, I'm fine with it. And one of the auditions came for the deputy, which is his deputy, and this gentleman auditioned for it, and he nailed it. And he had a look about him, and there's in the scenes where I'm having people cast, like I said, everything is about emotion, and for me, it's about emotion. If you can convince me of your emotion, I'm going to believe your character. If I believe your character, I'm invested in your character and in the film. If I don't believe your character, then I don't give a crap about the film. I'm just waiting for you to get knocked off. But this particular individual, I believed his character and an intensity of a certain scene. So I was like, could this guy replace me? So I reached out to him and I was like, hey, I'm just curious, would you be interested in auditioning for this role? And he was like, dude, I'm humbled that you would even offer me. Yeah, I'm definitely interested. I'll give it my best shot. And he goes, know that if I don't do it to the level that you want, I'm perfectly fine with this. Like, I respect that. And I try to be as best, as honest as I'm fully transparent with people. I'm completely honest with them. If I come back and say, I loved you here, I need you here instead. I know you want this one because it's bigger. I need you here instead because you nailed this. I have somebody that's phenomenal here. But I told him, I said, I'm going to send you, it's either 2 or 3 scenes, which is a lot to give somebody. Some of these casting calls that I've done for people, it's like, here's 3 scenes, and the 3 scenes are their entire scenes in the film. And I'm like, I don't care. I want to see if I believe you. Yeah. Because if I can believe you on a green screen in your house when there's nobody there around you and you're not in the environment, which means you're not in your head, then oh my God, when you get on set and you're in the trenches, in the makeup, with the person in your face, oh my God, you're going to be. Yeah. And this person, this particular individual, the one scene, I don't want to give too much away, but in the one scene, he's pissed off and he's smoking a cigarette and he's just cussing it. I mean, he's like threatening a guy, and he's just, like I said, he's an FAFO kind of guy, and the guy's threatening him in his town. So he's just, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, holy shit. So I'm like, I brought it home because I was at the gym, watching it at the gym between sets. I'm like, oh my God, I need to look at this on a bigger screen as opposed to my phone. Brought it home, got it on the iPad, showed it to my girlfriend. I'm like, what do you think? She was like, oh my God. And I said, do you think this is him? And she was like, yeah, that's him. So I was like, all right, cool. I can pull myself out. I put myself in a little cameo role, have a little fun with that. Yeah. And I asked him, I said, are you up for it? And he was like, I will not disappoint you, I promise you. So there you go. So I'm excited about it. It is exhausting. There's, normally if you watch the closing credits of a film, the people that do all the stuff that I'm doing is usually a large team, and there's no large team.
So we're going to see your name and then
no, I do not want my name in there a lot of times.
Nope. Your name and then
nope. I want my name honestly as the writer, director, and the role that I'm playing, and that's it. I don't care about my name in this at all. And like I said, the only reason I want the writer, director, and my name is my little role. My little role is for my little role. But that way, if somebody has a problem with the story, they can go to the writer and say, who wrote this crap? If somebody has a problem with who directed this crap. Beyond that, I don't care about I don't care about the casting. I don't care about, none of those titles mean anything for me with regard to getting accolades or anything like that.
When do you plan on starting to shoot?
So formally, we are going to be shooting in Q4 of this year, Q1 of next year. Informally, we're going to start knocking out some of the small scenes with the 1 or 2 people kind of scenes in the beginning part of August. So we have a SWAT team that we are working with that is going to film in August an interrogation scene with a couple police officers and an attorney. And the idea behind those is they are very closed. So film your scene, got this done, and you're wrapped. We're done. So and I'm trying to get as many of those as possible, so that way when we get to the December, January scenes, where I need lots of people that are across multiple scenes, we can do those all together, because I have obviously people flying in from different states and stuff. Yeah. So it's exciting. It's tiresome, but it's exciting. I will say that the people so far have been amazingly supportive and encouraging. My girlfriend has been amazing and supportive and encouraging. She obviously sees front line sometimes when I either get depressed because things aren't going as well as they should, or I get frustrated and exhausted because there's just so much work to do. We got the website up, the castings, scouting locations, I'm trying to figure out shot lists and all those other things that get done that honestly nobody usually knows about or cares about.
Yeah.
So she sees it and she's like, if there's anything I can do at all, just let me know. And I'm like, trust me, I wish there was. A couple of the cast members have reached out to me and they're like, I've been on film sets. I know that you're wearing 1,000 hats. If you need to call and just scream at somebody, I'm here. So I've been very blessed in the fact that I got a lot of really great, supportive people in the environment. And in that regard, a lot of people that have reached out to me that, like I said, all I've done is 3 little short films. So in the greater scheme of things, I am a nobody. And I have people that are like, I've heard good things about you and I've heard good things about your film and I want to be a part of it. And I look at their IMDb and I'm like, who am I that you want to be a part of my little thing? So, I've been very blessed in that regard as well. So
that's good. That's good.
So it's exciting. I can't wait to start filming. I can't wait to finish filming. But I'm just trying to enjoy it and not get distressed or too drained in the process.
Yeah, it can be done real easy.
Yeah.
That's why I'm backing down to just acting in movies.
Thinking that might be a wise move after this one's done. Take a hiatus and just kind of enjoy.
Well, you had said this might be a one and done.
This might be a one and done.
Yeah. It'll probably be determined on how successful it is.
This is true.
If it's really successful, you might not act anymore.
It's written in such a way that a prequel or a sequel could be created from it. So
there you go. There you go. Okay, well,
brother,
it's been fun.
You chatting.
This has been trying to set this up for a while. When did we work on that movie?
Is it a year and a half? 2 years?
Year and a half ago, I guess? Yeah. Something like that. Funny story about that movie. We were detectives. Yep. And we go into a room to confront the killer. Well,
I know where you're going with this. I think.
Yeah. Props only had one gun.
Yep.
So he walks in with the gun drawn, and then I forget what you do.
So what they did is they cut over to them to get their reaction, and then I hand you the gun because then he flees and you go with the gun off that direction, and I wrap my arms around the victim and hold on to her.
Yeah. But we did a
you take the gun now.
We did a Statue of Liberty pass because we only had one gun.
And you know what? It's fun stories like that we can reflect on years later.
Because it wouldn't have made much sense for me to take off after him without
a gun. I got him. You got a weapon? Now I'm good.
Yeah, I'm not. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Yeah, that was the funny part of that shoot. But that was a fun day.
Yeah.
That was a fun day.
Yeah, it was.
Okay. I want to thank Sean for sitting here chatting with me. I'm not sure how long this is going on now. I don't have a counter that I can see, but I'll find out when we get done. But thank you everybody for watching this. We'll be back next Wednesday morning for a Jesse Green Live in between show at 5:36 a.m.